I'm Rick Schneider, you're watching Schneider Classics, and I just have to add this little bit of information before I start the video. This video is going to be a little bit all over the place because some of the video got corrupted. There was a whole video shot before this that now clips of it are ending up in this video. And what it was us putting the motor into this 1967 frame. We had the motor, putting it on, and then getting the cab sorted out properly and putting it on. And like all of my footage of that, I don't know where it went. I can't find it. So this video is just going to be the aftermath of we're going to throw a little bit of whatever I can find of that video in here, and then you're going to see us running the 1967, firing it up for the first time, as well as getting some other stuff done on the truck so we can run it for longer. So see you in the video.
Just a shadow of myself. When you found me, I was lonely, yeah. But then you took my hand and said, it's gonna be alright. I'm here for you tonight.
The Mexican's above me. I don't know if you can see me on the camera. I'm underneath in this small space getting that bolt that bolts the engine in. Hi Mexican, I can see you. I'm doing these bolts on the engine, and then I gotta do these transmission bolts right here. But our yellow pan is in there. It shows up so bright and yellow on the camera, brighter than it actually is. It's wonderful. That's that brake line I still gotta do in the front there. But you can see this side. That little bolt right there. That's what holds that mount together. 3 bolts on the engine, 4 bolts on the frame, and 1 bolt that can join the two. Old style Wix filter. She's fine. Well. Alright, I'm gonna keep working here. So just like the video of when we took this truck out and I showed it a little bit, I'm gonna show it again. The front cab mounts are loose because it's lifted up on both sides, jacked up, and the transmission tunnel and everything is open because we have to jack this truck up and we have to pull off the top cover plate to even get this drivetrain in and out. The cab's got to be lifted in the front to get it out and in. I just underneath there, tightening all that. I just got to get this in here. I must have turned this when I walked by. It was loose. See, now there's enough clearance for this going. That's
Can't believe that you are my lady. It's so crazy.
Ready?
Yeah.
Turning over really nicely. So it's not fun.
So keep running into ignition problems here. So I've taken off, you can see I've taken pretty much out of this. This thing is full of crud, which is not good at all. I'm gonna say this, even though this motor, I won't lie, like it has really great internals to the motor, this motor has been one problem after another. One, distributor cap was broken, had problems. It had a broken power steering pump, it had broken, like there was a lot of broken things on this, even to the point where like, as you can see, that last intake bolt is a sunken bolt in there. It's not on top of the intake, it's inside the intake, sealing the hole, but it's a smaller head. It's not the right size head. And I just go, it's sealed, I see nothing wrong, it's not leaking coolant or oil anywhere, so I'm gonna leave it. But like the carburetor was broken, like in so many pieces, even internal pieces. Like this guy sold me a running motor, but I'm like, how the hell did this thing ever run? The distributor was crap. Look, how does something inside a distributor, because these are distributor internals, how does something like this work? I'm lucky I have spare stuff pulling out. It even has oil on it in the distributor because the cap was open. This is fried. Good thing I have a spare ignition coil because I have, where did I put it? I have this thing off of another vehicle. This is broken because it had to be forcefully removed off a motor because it was dry seized. As you can see, it cracked inside the engine and did not want to come out, so it had to be ejecto. So I've stolen the internals from that one that I've had sparing around, and I'm replacing it into this distributor because it's got a good, the bottom casing, the crank is good, and it is, I can tell it hasn't been removed. So that's good. So it should be proper in its timing. But just, cleaning up, looking how gummy this is and gross and it's just nasty. But as long as my points are good, grounding points are all good, I'm probably gonna actually get in there and clean up that ground, because this is your ground for the distributor in here. Or is it one of the, no, I'm pretty sure it's that one. Ideally, I like a new distributor for this, but I've already swapped the cap out because we thought first it was the cap because the cap's all broken and everything. But it's just nuts to go that a guy's like, oh, I sold you a running motor. But I've had to replace pretty much everything on this motor because everything was broken. Like even the oil pan was broken. Like, how do you sell a running motor and it not be running? To be fair and stuff, I didn't see it running and everything. He posted it. He showed me videos of it in the truck, which he still had the starter on the thing. Like, you can test these motors with the starter out of a truck. We have one it hardwired pretty much right now. Because this is the truck's battery on the starter, and then on the negative to the engine block on the starter, and then this is the trip. Good old button smasher. The trip, the starter solenoid. and then you run a hot wire to your to the battery side of the distributor, because it will say battery or tack on the cap, which here I can show. Right here, it will say battery and tack right on the edge here. You put your hot wire to the battery side, and you can hot wire an engine that way. It's very simple, very easy, but like, and the guy was trying to come after me after we did the trade. He was just like, oh, I want to swap engines back. I'm like, no, you sold me a bad motor. You lied. You did that. I'm like, no, I gave you the information I was told off the engine. Because the engine, little history on that 06 Silverado and stuff, the original owner and stuff. The kid was telling me a bunch of stuff, but then the owner and stuff was telling me different stuff as well. The owner was saying like the engine and transmission's been swapped, which I didn't verify the engine VINs or anything like that. I did because I just wasn't thinking about it. But when I sold the transmission to a guy, he asked for the VIN, I checked it, but then when he checked the transmission VIN, he's like, these VINs aren't the same. I'm like, oh, okay, well, this is the story on it, whatnot. I was told they were swapped out. He's like, oh, okay. Like, same with that engine. I was told the engine had just under 200,000 kilometers on it because the transmission was not that long replaced, and so they swapped them out as a unit. I don't know. The guy was mad at me or stuff, and he was just like I want to trade back. I'm like, I have already put all new stuff on this motor, new gaskets, new seals. I've gone through stuff. I've replaced stuff because they were given to me broken, which he didn't tell me about. Like, you want to come after me? All right. But I'm going to say this in all due diligence and stuff, like, because I do feel like when people don't get satisfied in aid and all that stuff, I do want to do my due diligence. He said, hey man, I'd like to make this right. If you feel like you got copped out, and I didn't even tell him, I haven't messaged him at all or anything on everything that's been broken with this motor that I've replaced. There's a list. It's not a list, it's like 8 things that I've replaced. The card, now everything in the distributor, the thermostat housing, power steering, which is not something that needs to be run. The oil pan, because the oil pan was crap. Just stuff like that. I haven't even tested everything that I pulled off this motor too. Like the starter I haven't tested, so I don't know if he gave me that garbage or anything. But like the other things were garbage, were trash. And like had to clean out a lot of the intake and stuff because the thermostat just wasn't on there. And there was no thermostat with it. There was no thermostat, but there was the thermostat housing that came with it, but it didn't come with it. But rust got inside the intake because it was open. And the same thing with this distributor. It was open because the cap was completely broken and everything on that. And I was like, a bunch of stuff like that. It's just frustrating. Because the guy tried coming after me because he wanted his motor back and I told him no. But I did want to make things right, so I gave him, I was like, hey, what do you want? And he was like, oh, I'd like $100 back or whatever at least. I was like, okay, I'll do that because no, I want to be good on me. I want to be good in the car community. I'm filming this and stuff like that. So I give him $100. He's like, now we need to arrange a time to swap the motors back. And I said, nope, that's not happening. And he's like, I'm going to take you the small claims. And I was like, okay, I'm done with this conversation. And I blocked him, rightfully so. If you want to say, if you guys think I'm wrong or anything, like comment down, or if you guys think I did the right thing, comment down. At the end of the day, stuff happens. All I can care about is I want to make this thing run because I've spent all the time putting all new stuff on it. I've spent like $250 into the motor alone. And the only reason I didn't spend more and stuff is because I have parts on hand. If I didn't have parts on hand, this motor would have cost me like $500-600 to get running and driving on a running and driving ad. At least with the LS and stuff, I gave the rad support, the rad fans, the rad ed, all of the accessories, which none were cut, except for, I will say, the power steering one hose, the metal hose was cut, but it was cut at the flange so you could still unscrew it. It wasn't cut on the other side of the flange attached to the power steering unit. It was cut on the flange attached to this unit. So in that way it could still be unthreaded and done with. none of the wiring was cut or anything that I did because I don't believe in that. So the LS was a solid unit. It was running. It was running just like he did. He sent me videos of this running in the truck. I sent him videos running in the truck, and he was, yeah. I'm done rambling. I need to put these new parts, these internals in. This will obviously make the distributor work. That's a problem, but let's get her done. Yeah, like, do you see how rusty that thing is? Not happy. So, then get her finished here. This is probably because it's got oil on it and I sent power through it and everything like that, and it's got moisture collection on the bottom because I've been trying to clean the inside of the housing. This unit, this is the ignition unit, it's probably fried. It's probably cooked. So, good thing I have another one on hand, because otherwise I'd be pooched. Yeah, there's still moisture in there. Have a good cap on here. I'm gonna keep that other cap because if it's got a good coil in it, that's good spare parts for the coil and such, but the cap is garbage. I was gonna try and make it run with that cap for shits and giggles because it would have been funny. Okay, these two wires, these clip into the other side of the ignition. Can't believe how much oil is in here. This is the vacuum advance. Vacuum advance, I don't ever see him dying because it's just a suction thing. Well, I guess that can die too eventually, but I highly doubt it, so I'm not gonna replace that. But I'm gonna get in here, finish replacing these. Yes! We've sparked. Some 2-year-old chainsaw gash do the trick. Just fires. All right, there you go. I'd say she runs. So we're gonna call it that for this video. She's in the truck, she's ready to run. There is a ton of stuff that has to be done before she can drive around. Like, not a whole lot, because if you look here, like the brakes are all plumbed up. There's brakes in there. There's brake fluid in there. Oh. All of that's done up. The thing has brakes all the way around. I'm like, where did all that water come from? All that water came from there. Look at the rust. It's like a brownage tinge off the old rod cradle. Everything on that rod cradle's got to be swapped over to that one. This is the thing. If anyone of you has ever seen or ever known or anything, this is because the cab's from 72. It says on the thing, which I'll show you, that it came from factory with heated mirrors. And I pulled off the backing plate and stuff, and it's a heated mirror unit. And it says there in the glove box sticker, which I'll quickly show you, that it came with that from factory. That's a factory thing in this. There's all fun little informations. Yeah. So that's cool. That this thing came with heated mirrors. Like, I never knew that was a thing. But she popped off. She runs. She runs pretty good. Can't wait to have this thing like fully. So before she can be on the road. Yeah, everything has got to be swapped over to this other 67 and ride cradle. Because as you can see, still tons metal there. As you can see, not much metal is left on the bottom of this one, which is pretty crunchy. Not to mention the homemade battery bracket.
I'm so high.